What is up, everyone? It's your boy, Boobasaurus Rex. And today, I'd like to share my knowledge of Legendary Eliwood, and together, we will analyze him thoroughly, the same way he analyzes Ninian. So, to start things off, remember that really stupid story I had with regards to Racist Roy a little while ago about good old Eliwood banging dragons with his pal Nurgle? Man, I can't believe I get to see this as a reality merely a few months after Racist Roy came out. That said, we'll skip that story since we've already acquainted ourselves with the intimacy of flesh and scales. So anyway, I was taking a nap this evening, and when I woke up, I saw a couple Discord pings, and the first thing I witnessed is that Eliwood's eyeballs has been completely healed after his encounter with the evil Racist Roy. Now that his path is no longer clouded, Eliwood's true power has awoken, and he will put an end to his son's evil ways and finally bring the vision of Arcadia to fruition. I mean, just look at him and his pals. They went from homeless-looking people to Watazai's anime characters. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Blazing Blade gets a remake in the near future, which would be really nice. I mean, say what you will about Shadows of Valentia and some of its dumber parts, but I really did dig the remake. And if it wasn't for that game, I honestly can't imagine myself having any contact with Gaiden whatsoever. So this little bit of favoritism to Blazing Blade is not a bad thing. But anyway, fawning over art aside, what really brought my attention to this thing, first thing I opened my eyes, is that the man carries a sword powered by the soul of Ardent himself, Ardent Durandal. Now this stupid thing gives bonus doubler to people with the highest attack, ever since Hell Empress Eureka, with whom I still have yet to make a video for, but now I'm actually rather glad I didn't, because now she is virtually immortal with the combined effort of Legendary Eliwood and Kaden Yuki. Well, okay, I say this, but it's actually not all that simple, since you'll need to have the highest visible attack, and Eureka isn't exactly known for having a very high attack. But you can work around this. Just like how I did with Hell Puppeteer Eureka and her own brand of pumping people full of steroids from across the map, you can just as easily tailor your team within a certain range to all have similar attacks so that the entire team could have the same attack string, thereby all getting the bonus at the same time. You can say, oh, use Fortress Dev, Fortress Res, Fortress Dev Res, and their affiliate seals to shave attack away, or if you plan to have this be a full-time thing, maybe even take a minus attack IV. Or you can go the other way around with life and death, plus attack, fury, etc, etc, etc. Remember, the only thing that matters is that the attack has to be visible, so in-combat buffs don't matter at all. It's really worthwhile to go through all this sorting around and make a team around it. Seriously, I mean, this type of technique is what causes my defense team to be a nightmare in Aether Raids. Unless, of course, I'm memeing or testing things out. Most people who visits tends to get eaten up by the evil forces of buffs coming from across the map due to Hell Puppeteer Eureka. And now with Legendary Eliwood in the mix, you're gonna have a really bad time. Legendary Eliwood doesn't even need to have stats. He can be like 0 to all stats, as long as he sits in the corner of the castle and top right corner of the map. Just having him means, well, you have a really good shot of winning the game. Well, that's what I'd like to say, but there are some countermeasures to this as well. Now, because the whole team, the entire team has to run on the same attack, they're vulnerable to something like Chill Attack, which targets highest attack, because that'll definitely work its way across the entire team as well. No, except for Idun. Idun will really enjoy that. So you gotta watch out for Idun running this type of strategy, because Idun is practically unstoppable with that, unless you have Panic, but Idun isn't exactly lacking in HP either. That said, second, because this is so blue buff reliant, Panic will really wreak havoc on a team using this style of strategy. Everything like this is very scary, but with Panic, most units types these days are so optimized that their HP averages actually aren't that high. In fact, Gen 1 units tend to have like the highest HP. So guys like Karo or Batre or Seleth. Other people tend to have like, especially Gen 3 guys, tend to have like 37 attack, 37 speed. Oh boy, tons of defenses. But HP, for one reason or another, gets neglected, or it gets kind of balanced and average. This is fine. This is actually kind of good, because I would really hate it if like Gen 4, Gen 5 units are so power crept that even their HP is like super out of control. Right now, their BST is still in a more manageable place. Like right now, think about it right now. It's like you have attack goes up to like 40 something, 44 at the highest. So they have like some kind of rule to keep themselves from going out of control. Now that's kind of nice, but then you end up having stuff like bonus doubler being tossed in. But at least bonus doubler can be countered. Raw stats itself is a bit harder to work with. Like, I think that personally, this whole really high BST stuff needs to go, and stuff like this bonus doubler is actually not so bad because they have counters for it. But raw stats, there's just no thought to it. No thought to it whatsoever. I mean, I thought this is supposed to be a strategy game, not some kind of oh hey, I have the newest unit kind of game. But unfortunately, that's what it is right now. But thanks to stuff like bonus doubler, you could still work around it. The BST creep has not gone so far that you could still take advantage of these techniques and take advantage of that to stick around. Even now, my Gen 1 units can still hold their own, so I have that to thank for the moment. But because this skill is so blue buff reliant, Panic will destroy it. So, like I said earlier, the HP averages don't seem to be too high, except for characters that are, say, specifically aiming for some kind of high HP strategy. Like the aforementioned Karo. Karo is the guy who loves taking hits and then replying. And then you have guys who specialize in, like, long-range strategy types, such as Aversa, Loki, or Bridal Fjorm. So giving Panic to people isn't actually that hard, because there's just not that many people with high HP. However, one thing you gotta keep in mind is that Aether Raids blessings give 5 HP a pop. Stacking them might make even Aversa uncomfortable, especially if they're the current seasonal units. They get 10 HP on top of all this. So in my opinion, you might want to start investing on something that could proc Panic a little bit more at will, such as a Panic Plus from a healer, or someone with a monstrous bow or something. That way, you can ensure that you can power down those evil bonus doubler unit hordes. Well, I say this, but I'm not even sure if it'll work on me, because I run healers, and all my healers have Restore Plus. But hey, at least you'll be able to do something when the time calls for it. And not to mention, they also actually have this Harsh Command Plus recently, so they're definitely looking for some ways to counter Panic as well. It'll be interesting if Panic procs in some other way besides HP. This will be interesting. I like to see how people counter each other, the counter and counter. Except there's one problem with all this, is that they're all like 5-star locked. It would be nice if they're not all 5-star locked. People who don't get to summon because they busted their load on, I don't know, like their favorite characters or something, might be in a bit of a disadvantage. But it's not that important. Aether Raids is whatever. You play this game kind of just for funsies. I think if you don't really care about the ranks all that much, it's whatever. But anyway, all that said and done, man, I can't believe they're just handing bonus doubler out to everyone now. When Eureka first got that last year as her refine, I was so pleased because she had her own unique niche, which made me gave her the name of Hell Empress. But then Marth ends up getting it. And then Racist Roy pops up with it as a toy that he can use or given out to everyone. And now all of a sudden, thanks to Legendary Eliwood, you don't even need to lose your A slot over it. The original weakness of such a skill. Now, I went through the trouble of sacking Hector to Eureka because such a skill benefits the most from distant counter. You know, and we went from only red units being able to benefit from this combo to something like Fjorm and other dragons with lightning breath like Naui and Fei, and God Grima too. To, hey, guess what? Everybody gets bonus doubler now. Like I said, this is rather scary, especially for someone like a dude. Though, I guess, also kind of boring. I mean, I can see where people are going on now about how, oh, how stale the skill is. But make no mistake, it is very potent. And you have to be ready for it. Especially if you start running into people like Eureka, Roy, Fjorm, and etc. Doubling up on bonus doubler. Now, I'm sorry, I kind of just spent a long time hyping just this one sword, but man am I glad that I decided to stay my hand on Bridal Fjorm, on that stupid Bridal Fjorm thing after all. And I thought to myself, hey, maybe I should just wait a legendary banner or something to summon her, because I would have a better shot of getting other good things on top of Fjorm. And now I have orbs to contest for Eliwood when he comes out. That's just how good that sword is, how high I value the sword. I made a big deal about Kaden Yuki when he first came out with his bonus doubler, I guess, fox fangs. I don't know. And now this one, whew, boy, I mean, this one can even work on Aether defenses. I mean, the whole reason why I even bother with that stupid mode is to make people suffer. And watch them suffer, like they do when they try to get past Hulao Gate for the first time in Dynasty Warriors 3. At any rate, to continue on to talking about Ellie here also has Death Blow 4, but I'd rather not sacrifice him for that if I were you. That's, Homeless Celica's job. Now don't get me wrong, Homeless Celica is incredibly strong too, but I've come to the realization that legendary heroes needs to be held on to since they're always in circulation as a bonus unit. Something that, despite how special CYL units could be, cannot do. But nah, you know what, despite all this, Death Blow 4 is kinda stupid anyway. Look, my Jacob can easily hit 200k points in the Roker Sieges without plus attack IVs or Death Blow 4. So I think it's a bit overkill for what it does. It's nice, but not sturdy impact kinda nice, you know what I mean? Now, Chill Attack for his B slot I find rather ironic considering that how it can also counter his own army. But I'd probably end up keeping that on him since, you know, I already did with my Hell Empress Eureka. Though maybe now she can actually take advantage of her armored form and use those broken ass B skills instead of Chill Attack or Chill Speed, while Ellie just sits in a corner and do all the support work. Seriously, Eliwood is just like Ellie Zan in Dragalia Lost. They provide buffs and they even sound the same. It's really deplorable. Is this really what happens with people named Ellie? Now finally, Divisions of Arcadia, the C skill that differentiates him and his racist son. It's scary, it's pretty scary strong too, considering that you don't even need to be near a beast or a dragon unit. Just having one is enough to trigger the skill. It works especially great with his partner Kaden Yuki. My only complaint is that for me it's a bit awkward because I already have Hell Puppeteer Eureka dishing out the attack, the dev, the res on the highest attack. So this kind of gets in the way of that. On top of which, speed opening is kind of dumb. It only affects target with the highest speed instead of highest attack like what you would get from Grand Scratcher. So its synergy is rather awkward as well. But other than that, I mean, I can't really think of anything else that would do well for a cavalry character to hide while they're hiding in the corner of the map. There's just, you know, unfortunately for Cavs, their support is rather limited because of the lasting impression they've made back in Gen 1. So if he had been an air unit instead, there would be a lot more secret techniques for him to use. Therefore, I think it's better to just keep his C unless you have no beast units. You'll need someone in the front lines to provide speed and res tactics, or something else. You'll be wasting a good half of Ardent Durandal. I mean, okay, look, this is only just for defense. I mean, you could easily set yourself up with full buffs anywhere else, but I would consider seriously playing around it, because in all honesty, you have a much easier time in offense. It's even kind of brain dead since you fight AIs, but having your AIs fight people is another matter altogether. So you want to set up some kind of art that'll screw those guys over, and to keep your points safe. Still, rather Aether Raids or no Aether Raids, something that can buff your units up from across the map is absolutely out of control. So I fully recommend Legendary Eliwood as a unit, and I plan to summon for him on this banner, shitty as it is. That said, let's talk about the banner itself. So in terms of red, we have Flying Lobster Brain Damage, Ryoma, and New York Hirid working together with Ellie. It's a pretty shitty combo. Really shitty, honestly. I can see why this banner might not be all that popular, because Ryoma and Hirid are kind of Now, if they have included the Hawk King or something like that, or a Dune, I can see people going nuts and not all over this banner. Seriously, I think this is poor business decision on their parts, I think. In getting greedy, in trying for this, it kind of turns people away, you know? Why hold back? If you have done it like you did with the other legendary banners, well, some of them anyway, to make the main character a lot more enticing, I think you can do a better job with getting people to summon. I mean, I've seen people that are kind of skeptical about Eliwood already in the first place, based on some of the chats I've seen, but I don't know. His abilities are pretty strong, but you know, there are people who don't really think about that as much for him. Some people really would summon unconditionally because, well, he's Eliwood, but the majority might be kind of on the fence. So having Ryoma and Hirid together that are kind of like might just break this deal and cause him to not summon. So I really think that they could have done a much better job with this. IS needs to stop being so greedy sometimes. They really need to start. They need to start to, you know, give a little bit more to bait people. I think that that's a much better strategy than say, oh, you know what, we're just gonna do a wait and watch kind of thing, and just kind of slowly dish out really disgusting more. Actually, no, that's not the good way to put it. I would say they do it rather quickly, but they do it on separate banners instead of on the same banner. You know what I mean? Yeah, those stupid 4-person banners too. God, I hate those so much. Anyway, so Ryoma comes with Kestrel Stance, which might be decent for decently fast characters that are based around enemy face, like Selena Miku or something like that. But it's really not all that great. But I suppose if you were able to make up for the A slot somehow, say if they have built-in distant counter, or they have someone with infantry rush or infantry breath sitting behind them to make up for their lost A slot, then Kestrel Stance is pretty decent. Now, that's all really Ryoma has. Otherwise, you're just getting him for the character, which is not so bad, because he does have Bushido. Bushido is kind of scary, but losing his B slot is also kind of scary in of itself. Hirid himself has Chill Attack Sword and Hone Attack 4. Nothing really to write home about, considering that we have a Vision of Arcadia instead. You know, the dude also even comes with Chill Attack. So Hirid is kind of like in limbo here. I guess I would use his Hone Attack 4 just for the sake of, hey, look, I have 7 attack now, and I can use that to power up bonus doubler in some other situation where I don't use his C slot, Eliwood's C slot. But really, Hirid is just a horrid placement. It just doesn't belong in this banner. Unless you really like him, but I don't. All I know is that he sweats a lot, and he didn't really do much. Anyway, I predict a lot of sadness summoning on this banner because of this. I am also aiming to get, well, 4 more Aerie, so luckily I will probably still summon, even though there's going to be a lot of sadness. I'm looking to get 4 more Ares to create my God of War build, so I guess I might as well put up with it for now. Personally, I think it's more ideal to wait until he and Raices Roy are aligned together like a few months from now, preferably with a good red like Tiburn. You know, the only reason why I'm willingly falling into this trap is because I love gambling. I just love doing things like these. It's fun. Even though it could be heartbreaking at the same time, it's fun. Now, blue, we have Lucina, well-known Arena and Aether Raid Cancer, but I think that her color and the recent introduction of Legendary Alm is really weighing her down. Ephraim is meh, unless you have some plans with Gale Force, then he's okay. Selkie is rather nice, but just like the other two, she doesn't have any wider strategic value outside of sabotage attack that she comes with, which I wouldn't use on her anyway, because I think she's more of a combat-oriented character. She will pair amazingly with Eliwood though, so if you manage to get her and that, well, you have a pretty crazy combo, because she gets a lot of all stats built into her weapon, and now that she has her A slot free, she could be pretty scary. Okay, well, green is actually pretty cool. We have the evil Guntra, who spreads debuffs on their targets, and then execute them with a painful blizzard, as seen on Canis and Surtur. She also happens to have the bonus unit to be for these next 2 weeks, so I put her to work if you get her now. Yun is a horrible monster that spreads debuff, and then doubles on people who gets them. On top of that, I think Yune also gets like +6 attack. Yeah. So it's really such a shame that Tiburn is not on this banner, because as you can see, she can really benefit from sturdy impact thanks to her, well, rather minuscule defense. Not as bad as Delthea, but pretty bad. But really the main reason to get her is that, oh, you know, she'll give people cancer on dark seasons every other week, to the tune of, oh, I don't know, 5 HP and 4 speed apiece. What's not to love? And finally, bathing Hinoka is alright. Colored dagger is a mistake, just like colored bows. But, as a fodder, she has that stupid bucket that'll ruin the days of any dragons. I mean, like, oh yeah, they can't hit you for where it hurts, and you did you extra damage? Disgusting. You have ear ripping dragons to pieces now. While attack speed bind, attack speed link, always find options. She even comes with air orders that can and will surprise people when they least expect it. Now, it's not as strong as ground orders in terms of flexibility, but I will not underestimate anything that can cause a triangle attack to just randomly occur. Believe me, they hurt a lot, especially one from Flying Nino. Anyway, finally, colorless, we have my favorite God, Grima, and Veronica. Neither needs much explanation. Both are +10 already in my barracks, which kind of sucks because I'm kind of looking forward to summoning Bathing Sakura to appear alongside the Duma, so I can, you know, keep working on her Grand Scratcher or Speed opening with, you know, with all those fun things, the nonsense, on top of getting more copies of Duma. But as it is right now, it's a bit of a minefield to try and get her. All in all, the banner itself kinda sucks. But it's not so bad to say that, oh, there's no fathers either. Now, if I end up summoning, I'd obviously go for red and green, with some colorless on the side. Luckily, you only need 1 copy of Eliwood. Just 1, since he's a support type, and he's not really all that great as a father either. Now, the same can't be said for combat-oriented characters in the blue, especially Selkie, who relies on stat checks. So I would kind of, unless you're trying to build up Selkie or something like that, or Lucina or Ephraim, kind of stay away from blue. But anyway, that's about all there is to say about this banner. I thank you all for watching. Until next time.